20-year-old sister is menacingly standing over them.
She looks like she's not asleep though, because she has these red marks, right? It makes them seem like they're kind of in like being stimulated in some way, right? And then you look over to the sister and she's holding a device. The only thing I can think of is something vibrational inside of the bed, and every single one of these people need to be arrested immediately. The worst fandom you've never heard of. Now, judging by the thumbnail of this video, it seems to be a video about the Loud House, and mind you, if you've been on the channel for a little while, we've heard all about the Loud House, okay? We've seen some crazy comments where people were making loud cest, okay? A 12-year-old kid and their 12-year-old sister intermingling crazy, disgusting stuff. We already know how weird Loud House fans can get, how disgusting and degenerate, so I guess let's see even more. Why, you may ask? I don't know. Torture? Somebody come take me out, man, please.
What if I told you, somewhere among the annals of recent internet history, there lies a fandom so hilariously awful that it might be the worst out there?
Buddy, I already believe you. You don't even have to do any convincing.
That's right, worse than furries, worse than bronies, and definitely worse than Roblox transfer games.
Okay, wait, whoa. Are they worse than bronies? I'm not gonna lie, bronies are pretty bad. We also watched a video about a brony, and I already know them bronies be doing crazy stuff. They'll probably cut a hole in the bottom of the freaking My Little Pony character, start cracking it, bro. Genuinely. But the thing is, to be fair to bronies, the My Little Pony characters are based on adults, 20-year-olds, something like that, and Loud House characters are like 12, so. What's this? What? I'm confused, man. Snipe him? Yo, why are you trying to snipe the black character? Wait, did this guy make this intro, or is this a Loud House clip? Because if he made this, yo, shout out to you. You have talent, bro. Yo, somebody tell this guy to work on some Loud House fanfics and actually make them good. Okay, where are we going?
Yeah, all of what you just saw is based off of real Loud House fan art. And
oh, okay, so that ended kind of weird. I thought, never mind.
Yeah, it does get worse than this. Welcome.
Okay, that one was kind of cool, kind of tough. Like, okay, obviously it's bad that like a kid probably crashed the car and died, and it's kind of tragic. But aside from all the Loud House comics, I think I'm just desensitized by now. That's what it is, because I've seen some crazy, freaky stuff. That was so tame.
Ladies and gentlemen, to your guided tour of the most degenerate fandom on the internet.
Oh, why are we doing this again, bro? I should end this video right now, bro. Why are you watching this video? You're interested. Why are you interested? Why am I interested? The show must go on. The Loud House video. Facts, though. The cinematic freaking DreamWorks ass, WBC 20th century ass intro to a movie. I like it, though.
In the beginning, there was Chris Savino, a veteran animator and a guy who couldn't control his urge to share his pleasure of working with some of his employees.
First thing that stands out to me about this man, Chris, yo, holy turkey trip, man. I don't like to make fun of people, but damn, bro, your hairline is taking a little step back right now. Invest some of this Loud House comic money into a trip to Turkey.
Until he got caught up sharing his pleasure of working with some of his employees. But really quickly, let's back up a little bit. The Loud House stars Lincoln, an 11-year-old little menace who lives with his 10 older and younger sisters.
If you're if you're enjoying the video so far, please make sure you go and smash the subscribe button. We're on the road to 200,000 subscribers. I think we're at 15,000 away from it, so please make sure you sub up. Thank you. Okay, finally, there's a video that's explaining the family lore, because I'm so lost on who's related to who. When I see fanfics of people like having relationships, I just assume they're boyfriend and girlfriend. No, they're siblings.
Man, I wonder how the internet took this one.
Get out of my house!
The show dropped in 2016 to pretty high praises, being the first time its host channel, Nickelodeon, actually gave a shit about another cartoon since SpongeBob, but has since fallen off, to say the least.
Oh.
Today, you're going to be taken on a journey through the disgusting underbelly of the Loud House, its fandom, to see what hell truly lies beneath. We're going to be discussing why the show has become host to such an awful fandom, as well as some of the art and literature created surrounding the show.
Okay, yo, this is a W video. Got good recaps. It's very well edited. Shout out to this guy.
Then, I'll be diving into the darker corners of the fandom and the evils it has spawned through the contents of the original show. So, if you're prepared enough to handle it, let's begin. Entering the first circle of fandom hell, Limbo.
Limbo? Where are we going? Wait, Limbo is life, the place you go before heaven and hell, right? Like that little middle ground.
In Limbo, we're going to discuss the relatively benign things this fandom partakes in, as well as why it has gotten so big in the first place. The fandom has essentially spread its wings over multiple platforms since its inception, and isn't always awful.
Okay.
Anyways, the nicer parts of the fandom are usually found in more public spaces like Twitter. DeviantArt, kinda.
No, because if anything is happening on freaking Twitter, it's nothing but NSFW, bro. Elon Musk ruined that freaking app. If you go on Twitter and type in Loud House, you're probably gonna see some crazy loudcest as well. That's a new term, by the way. Loudcest, Loud House plus inset. You combine it, Loudcest, cinema.
Where there are actual moderation teams and people who don't like seeing...
You're giving them so much credit, bro. DeviantArt don't be caring. What?
Most fan art at worst involves creepy self-inserts, but usually is redrawn scenes from the show or putting the characters in new places. That should be about it for Limbo, so let's descend into the next circle.
What's next? Whoa, lust.
For some reason,
There should not be a freaking category of lust when dealing with a show with a 12-year-old MC, bro.
there's a large portion of this fan art community that has a strong affinity for drawing the main character, Lincoln, and his sisters in, let's just call them sensual situations.
Oh my.
Of course it gets worse in this, but you'd be surprised at the amount of safe for work art that really skirts the line between sibling love and...
Whoa, Linky, you're becoming really good at this. Thanks. Good at what? Clearly, this is not NSFW nothing. Wow. It says this person's a lesbian. Clearly, they're just two siblings, snuggled under the covers, sleeping in the same bed because that's platonic sibling love. They're just sleeping, nothing freaky happened, right? I don't even know how I can excuse this at all. Just nothing, bro. They got freaky, bro.
Obsessed love. On top of this, there's a whole other side of this art community I'll be showing later. To give you a taste, remember the intro I spent 4 days animating and rendering? Yeah, that barely scratches the surface. The Loud House gore art community is booming.
What? So we got Loudcest, Loud Gore. What's next? Loud Furry Corn?
Lori Loud in a horrific car accident here, Lincoln Loud undergoing chemotherapy there, everyone in the Loud family crying because one of the sisters was left with horrific injuries over here.
How did this happen, bro? And why'd they give Lincoln cancer? What the fuck?
Here, etc., etc. I won't lie, it's kind of funny literally just because of how absurd it is, but
Yeah.
then again, there's an entire community of people out there who draw images of 9-year-old cartoon kids getting into bloody and traumatic accidents.
That is weird, yeah. I mean, it depends on how old I was. Like, if I was really, really young, maybe I was 10 years old and I really hated a character. Like, I low-key hated Caillou, bro. His ass was low-key ugly as hell. He had a bald-ass head. He was always crying, bro.
Imagine if a show like Bluey had a community like this.
Oh, huh?
I don't want to get too carried away, as there's enough of this shit to make an entire ass section going over some of it. Anyways, the next section is one of the most mind-blowingly hilarious things I've ever shown on this channel, and I think you'll agree.
What? Diner? Dinner? Yeah, where are we going? Dinner time. Gluttony.
When we think of the long-winded epics of fiction,
Okay, gluttony is like when you eat too much. So they're gonna stuff him with food?
one's mind usually points towards the Epic of Gilgamesh, Homer's Odyssey, War and Peace, or Chris Chan's biography. However, what if I told you the longest work of fiction ever written is a Loud House self-insert fanfiction that has, count them with me, 16,777,215 words at the time of writing.
What could you possibly be writing, bro? Hammurabi's freaking code? Is he writing in hieroglyphics? Is he making a new religion?
And believe it or not, it's still being updated regularly, with the most recent edition being from 21 hours ago as of writing this. Note, this section is
Dude.
not meant to bully the creator of his work. I just want to show a particularly amusing part of the fandom. that
No.
I think-
I'll say the quiet part out loud. Get your ass a job. And as a matter of fact, since you love to write, get it to clickety-clacking them damn fingers on a keyboard at a job. You can be a newspaper worker, maybe a paper boy, be a journalist, something, bro. Someone needs to write the new Next Times best-selling book. You know what? Random question. Why is every single book the best-selling Nobel Peace Prize damn book, bro? How can every book be the best #1 everything, bro? It always made no sense to me.
really furthers the idea of how insane the whole thing is. Mr. James Dean 5842 is the creator of this masterwork, and at the young and naive age of 36 has managed to create quite the work of fiction here. He also makes
You're
sure
36, bro. This guy, how do you feel to know? Like, bro, this could be one of our dads out there, bro. Like, we could have been growing up, and our dad was one of them dudes who was just like, astute, amazing dude, okay? He would shake hands very firmly, he's like, oh, nice to meet you, hello. And then in his off time, he goes up to his office and he writes goofy-ass Loud House comics. Don't let me catch you and find out this is some weird, disturbing fanfic either. Now I'm on your ass, and you're about to be exposed as a So
To specify, he never accepts, quote, bad opinions, bad criticism, racial slurs, and hateful comments, which is fair, I guess. I'm sure he's gotten no shortage of those since he began writing this 2,000 chapter epic. Anyways, let's go over part of the story. The story begins with our, at the time, 30-year-old protagonist moving in with his family into their multi-million-dollar mansion in Royal Woods, Michigan.
Okay.
Fortunately for JD here, he bumps into the guy that starts the whole story, Lincoln. He introduces this mysterious man to his entire ass family, and of course, he then naturally hits it off with literally every one of Lincoln's sisters.
So, you randomly stumble into a encounter with Lincoln, who's 12 years old, and you're 36. Then you get introduced to his freaking sisters? How? Bro, if you're 36, you should not be meeting a 12-year-old and thinking, let me go back to your house. You should be like, no.
Because why not? All the characters do their own thing until talking to JD, where they just respond like robots every single time.
Why, thank you.
I feel like I'm watching an AI interact with itself, but you know. We now discover that the author has, all of a sudden, decided to spawn an 11th sister named Lainey, who likes to paint and shit. He didn't even follow the 4-letter name thing that every other character in the family follows. He continues meeting the sisters one by one until he meets the 16-year-old sister, Lenny. He remarks, "You sure are pretty, Lenny." All right. And each of the next chapters, he's...
What do you mean, all right? What do you mean, all right? He's 36. The fuck do you mean it's all right? We're not just all writing that. That's enough. Get this man out of here.
He's to awkwardly insert himself into actual episodes from the show. In the second chapter, he makes sure to let us know that although he is 30 in real life, he is 15 in the fanfiction. A 30-year-old man role-playing...
Yo, bro, this man is LARPing a 15-year-old. He's LARPing being 15. What the fuck? I've seen it all, bro.
It's a 15-year-old alongside a bunch of underage girls. What could possibly go wrong? Okay, I'm reading this a bit further, and at some point he inserted Ed, and Eddie, and now they all hang out at Lincoln's house. He also has this segment where they view into an alternate gender-bended version of the Loud House where, and I quote, "We saw Lynn Sr. and Rita's counterparts crying as the older boys were taken away in police cars and the younger boys were taken away by child protection services." What? Anyways, skipping ahead 1,900 chapters, there isn't a single recognizable character left other
Bro,
than
this man wrote a 16 million freaking page fanfic about him being 15 years old again and hanging out with 15-year-old girls and 15-year-old boys. This is somebody's dad, somebody's uncle, somebody's brother. Yo, I'm ashamed to say that I'm a human sometimes.
Author and an occasional Loud sister. They visit all kinds of other cartoons from Dexter's Lab, Into the Spider-Verse, and fucking Total Drama Island, the Redonkulous Race. And, like I said, it still continues on to this very day, with most of the recent chapters alone having multiple thousands of words. For context, in 2018, the story had 180 chapters, and in 2021, it had 1,300 chapters. In 2 years, this guy has written another 7.5 million words and 850 chapters. And what
could you possibly be discussing with these damn 15-year-olds in your fan fiction, dude? Actually, bro. Like, you're supposed to say 5 words or less to these 15-year-olds. Oh, hello, nice to meet you. Not even that, bro. Hello? Is your parents here? Hello? Are you lost? Do you need me to call 911 to get home safe? No. Instead, he decides to go to their house because, oh, he's 15 now for some reason.
exactly are you doing with your life? Shit, man, we need my boy James Dean 5842 to finish up Hunter x Hunter.
Thanks. Not true. There are some mangas out there, some animes that you need some finishing. Okay, what's next? Hearsay.
When you think of notoriously bad fan art, what do you think of? My Little Pony? I mean, yeah, you're not entirely wrong, but is it a core staple of that fandom to show bizarre sexual tension between siblings? Yeah, I don't think so. What about Bluey? Is it common for that fandom to produce gruesome images, imagining small children being deathly ill or fatally injured?
I really hope not.
Yeah, not really. With the Loud House fandom, you get this much and sometimes more, but we'll get into that part later.
What is it that makes the Loud House fandom specifically this weird, by the way? Like, why is it not like Gravity Falls? Actually, Gravity Falls is kind of bad sometimes, I've heard. But why is it not other shows, bro? Like, the Loud House in particular has a weird fan base.
Now we'll discuss the art that is often created by viewers who just wish to show their adoration for the children living in the Loud family. As we know, fan art is a controversial concept within many communities, often because those who draw them are not very in touch with basic morality, to say the least. There's a reason the next 3 parts are dedicated to Loud House fan art. I want to prove to you, the viewer, that this fandom may be the worst major community on the internet. Coming from an admittedly poorly made article by AminoApps.com, we can take a look at some of the most vile yet apparently safe for work things the fandom has created.
Okay.
Here, we see a precursor to the images we're going to be purely discussing in the
And are these siblings right here? I forgot.
last part. The person who drew this believed so much in the bond between two 11-year-olds, they drew them snuggling in bed, all whilst Lincoln's 17-year-old sister is menacingly standing over them. Next, another preview at the awful
Wait
situation.
a minute. I don't want to do some weird headcanon analysis because it's going to make me sound weird if this is not real or true. But I gotta tell y'all what I think this is. Okay, so Lincoln seems like he's asleep. Z's, right? She looks like she's not asleep though because she has these red marks, right? And usually when they write these red marks, it makes them seem like they're kind of in like being stimulated in some way, right? And then you look over to the sister and she's holding a device. And whenever you see somebody holding a device like this, making this cheeky face while somebody else looks like they're being stimulated, the only thing I can think of is something vibrational inside of the bed that is currently at work. And I hope that's not what's happening, but it very much looks like what it is. The Loud House fandom has gone too far, and every single one of these people need to be arrested immediately.
On between two 11-year-olds, they drew them snuggling in bed, all whilst Lincoln's 17-year-old sister is menacingly standing over them. Next, another preview at the awful situations these artists put these children in for their own amusement, with this image showing Lincoln's 15-year-old sister pissed drunk off of beer and vomiting in a dirty alleyway.
What the
How the f do people come up with this shit? Like, I won't lie, in a morbid way, it's kind of funny, but that's just because of how purely absurd it is.
Bro, who sees a kid and is like, you know what, let me make them drunk and drugged out and throwing up because I hate this character? I don't know.
More lovely art comes from Pinterest. Again, putting this poor, tortured 11-year-old boy into provocative situations. Seriously, just let my boy play Roblox and watch Skibbity toilet videos. My God. This one shows him being affectionately hugged by Lori's 17-year-old friend, and I don't think she loves him like a brother.
Oh.
There's actually a shocking amount of art between these two specifically for some reason. Here's one of them holding hands and blushing while sitting on a couch with Lori's friend.
Okay, I was gonna say the other ones could be technically arguable. Maybe it's like a friend, sister, big sister type of vibe, but this one, nah.
Literally dwarfing him in size. Is this some kind of like mommy issue projection? Here's another one of that girl Ronnie Ann in f***ing booty shorts. Here's one of Lori's friend forcefully kissing Lincoln. Here's one where Lincoln is romantically laying with his sister's lesbian girl.
Oh my gosh, yeah, you cannot do anything to excuse this at all. There's no sibling, family, platonic, nothing going on here, bro.
Friend. Here's one where Lori is kissing Lincoln, and I'm getting ahead of myself. See what kind of rabbit hole we're in for? And this is just the beginning.
Yeah, it's bad.
There are literally thousands of artworks depicting this kind of psycho shit. But if you can believe it, we've only just skimmed the surface.
There's more, bro. Violence, okay?
Violence is probably the most literal of all the circles we've yet discussed. If you weren't aware, people in the Loud House fandom seem to have an affinity for placing its characters into sad and depressing situations, often depicting them as deathly ill,
Lincoln gets shot in the face. Why?
morally wounded, dead, etc. Again, tell me another community that has such a unique issue. To give some more perspective, imagine if there was a large community of people who drew fan art of the Backyardigans featuring Pablo being dropped into a pit of wooden spears. That's what I mean by how insane all this is.
Yo, I didn't mean to laugh. That's not funny, but it's also funny. I grew up watching Backyardigans. My favorite character was Tyrone. Yes, was it because he was black? Bro, he was black. Let's be real here.
Taking a look at this Reddit post where someone has the same question I bet all of you, including myself, are having, we get an answer from this user. Quote, biggest reason behind sad Loud House stuff is a pair of ultra poorly received episodes, Brawl in the Family and No Such Luck, which generally trigger the fan base to hold a grudge against the Loud family and seek to comfort themselves by imagining incredibly angsty situations where Lincoln disowns his own family, runs away, abuses them back, what have you. Generally, not
Bro,
even...
you mean to tell me you get this off of an episode? There are so many different shows with episodes where they have conflict with their family.
Not of hate for the characters either, because I get the impression most people making this art actually want to evoke sympathy and pity for all involved. The writer continues by saying how this is apparently not an issue unique to the Loud House and shouldn't be seen as such. Although there's some credence to be lended to what the writer is saying here, I simply can't buy the fact that this is Loud House fans secondhand trauma dumping by drawing some child and sibling abuse in paint.net.
Low key, because bro, there are so many different shows that have siblings out there that don't get this much freaking disturbing fanfics and fan comics in general, bro. You're not gonna sit up here and tell me it's because of the episode when every single anime and every single cartoon has episodes where they deal with conflict within their families, bro. It's very simple. Stop it.
On top of that, other kids shows that feature gore or trauma art, let's say SpongeBob for example, feature abstract representations of grown-ass adults, not realistic representations of actual people. It's the fact that so much of this art has been created, often not even featuring Lincoln, that leads me to believe this is just fanboy reasoning. It doesn't have a whole lot of basis behind it. To help illustrate my point, let me introduce you to a 27-chapter, 346,000-word fanfiction about Lincoln being diagnosed with a terminal f***ing illness. Requiem for a Loud.
Yo, they made my man's bald, bro. Come on, man. Yo, his head shape is already cooked. Why you have to do him like this?
Out as a fanfiction written by some dude from Argentina who decided to write a PhD dissertation on diagnosing cartoon children with neurofibromatosis, aka a deadly brain tumor. I'll quickly skim through this to spare you the ironically decent writing to give you the gist of what happened in this fanfiction. Chapter 1. Lincoln is out playing soccer with his sister. He collapses and has to go to the hospital.
Normal, by the way. So,
Chapter
well,
2.
actually, whoa, wait. Collapses, goes to the hospital? Never mind. I'm sorry.
He wakes up in the hospital, is visited by his family, but his parents kick his sisters out because they're being rowdy. Chapter 3, Lincoln's parents spend the night in the hospital with him, where they tell his sisters he has brain tumors because of an inherited genetic disease, and he's told he has 3 weeks to live. Chapter 4, nothing happens, blah, 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 something. Chapter 27, consummatum est, which means it is finished in Latin. Wow. Lincoln talks to his family and says he loves them and then falls asleep and dies. Apparently,
Wow. Okay, what's the conclusion to that? Lincoln plays soccer, gets cancer, and dies. So moral of the story is, don't play soccer?
the Loud House fandom ate this shit up because even before researching this video, I've actually heard whispers of it in various places. Anyways, let's move on to the visual art side of the fandom, where we can see scenes like this in vivid DeviantArt quality.
Okay.
In this image, we see the Loud family undergoing lots of suffering. It starts relatively minor, with Lisa having a failed explosion or experiment, the twins getting into a fight, Lucy being sad, Lincoln breaking a stuffed animal, and then Lynn has a bent leg, Luana's having a reputation ruined. Hey, we've seen this one before. Luna has alcohol poisoning from binge drinking. Lenny's been stabbed by glass or something.
Bro, you don't have to do all of this, though. Like, my question is, okay, if somebody's drawing this to show off their art skills and their talent, right? Why are you drawing them, depicting them in these weird positions? You could just draw them lore accurate to one-to-one to an episode and be like, no, I did not take a screenshot of the episode. I actually drew this by my bare hands. Maybe I drew it in pencil. I didn't do digital art. I don't know. Like, bro, you can show off your talent in other ways besides being weird and freaky and trying to get people to watch your thing because it's so, like, uncanny and downright disgusting.
He's on the verge of death. Like, this guy made a medieval triptych version of Loud House fan art. We get to see all of them needlessly suffering for some reason. Wow, look at that! A fully realized reenactment of the pain and suffering experienced by the Loud family during Lincoln's final moments from Requiem for a Loud. If we keep looking, we see Lincoln with fatal head trauma, Lincoln getting into a fatal car crash with a lorry, Lola visiting the grave of her twin sister, and it just continues on forever. There's no end to the suffering this family experiences in various iterations upon the core show. Whatever conclusions you may reach about the show's fandom, though, we haven't even reached the bottom of the barrel yet.
Before he gets to that, yo, hopefully Netflix takes that idea. Yo, Netflix, if you guys are looking for a show to make or some type of cartoon, anime, something, make it a family that just goes through a bunch of trauma and just death and gore. So that way these people get like their sick freaking fantasy fulfilled.
Stay tuned, where we'll be diving into how disgusting this fandom can truly get on the unsupervised corners of the internet.
Okay, let's see it. Fraud? When they're scamming people? Loud House fans are scammers?
As of now, you, the viewer, are standing on the precipice of a terrifyingly deep pit of immorality and flat-out illegality.
Okay.
Before we take the jump, allow me to guide you along the edge of the canyon, giving you a hint of what's to come. If I haven't hinted at it enough, the art that many people in this fandom creates involves putting underage characters, sometimes even family members, in sensually tense environments.
Yes.
Let's go over how deep this rabbit hole travels into the various dark and gross corners the surface of this fandom has to offer. For an example of something actually official in the show, that even a distant observer would notice, is the strange relationship between Lincoln's 11-year-old friend, Clyde, and his own 17-year-old sister. And they actually kind of play it off as normal. Look, I don't know about you, but to write such a—
What? Why? What is— okay, I'm confused. Actually, you know what? Why am I saying why? This is not even crazy for what that we've seen throughout today's video and in the past.
weird thing to do a kid's show, especially with the creator himself being a woman toucher, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I mean, they—
Wait, whoa. Ex-Nickelodeon producer Chris Savino apologized amid harassment allegations. So the guy who made Loud House is literally a harasser. That probably is what opens the floodgates for these Loud House fans to do all this weird stuff, man.
Honed down the whole bloody nose thing, or at the bare minimum made this kid attracted to someone his own age. Like, shit, we don't need representation for most underage Twitter furries. Anyways, moving away from the official shit, all you have to do to enter the cesspool of art and fan fiction is by searching up, quote, Loud House ship. In the world of fan art, there are 3 categories here. 1, in-show canon relationships. Obviously, most of these are like actually morally acceptable, like characters dating other characters their own age. Crazy, right?
Yeah.
Number 2, putting, I shit you not, specifically one sister, Luann, with that random background character from a single episode into a lesbian relationship. Even generically searching up Loud House ship yields so many results between these 2 characters. I was
It doesn't make any sense, bro. There's already lesbian relationships in Loud House, right? So if you're crying about representation, there already is there, right?
dumbfounded. I figured, eventually it'll stop. Nope, it just keeps going. Number 3, shipping Lincoln with his own 13-year-old sister. Yeah,
Nasty.
while also showing them as having kids. Again, name
Bro,
another—
you made him have kids with his own sister, bro. Why is the kid coming out normal, bro? He's supposed to have an ear on his forehead, have an eyeball on his tummy. This kid is gonna come out looking like he got nuked by radiation.
A show as mainstream as this with a fandom this insane. Delving into the fan fiction side of things, there's no shortage of content involving more underage characters enjoying each other's company.
Oh
Again,
my.
just look up Loud House fan fiction. The first result is a story called Shipping War. Our author places a strong emphasis on puberty and its effects, and how he's now 13 years old, also making him irresistible to the other 13-year-old girls around him. Yeah, I don't know about you. It feels weird seeing what was probably an adult write about young teenagers experiencing romance, especially a kid's show. Basically, this whole thing turns out to be the equivalent of a harem anime, but written by a lonely adult man. So you can just about assume where that goes.
You wrote a freaking harem about 12-year-olds. Oh my gosh.
Oh, we're not done yet, though. I've got one more story to torture you with. Here's another fan fiction called Ship Shape. Can you guess what this one's about?
Ship shape, ship shape, ship shape, ship shape. Say that 5 times fast, you might lose your tongue. I think ship shape is about shaping a ship.
Story where Lincoln has some form of sensual or sexually tense interaction with almost every one of his sisters. Here are some excerpts if you're curious. Very funny, Lori, Lincoln called back. Put me down, he was blushing. Lori loved it when he blushed. Lori could tell his heart wasn't in it, however. His eyes were locked on her breast.
Oh my gosh, bro. That's his sister. His sister. Talking about locked in on her breast, bro. You're a freaking weirdo. You're a freak. Never freaking pick up a pen ever again. Never write another word of English again.
As they should be. Dude, she's 17 years old. Like, what do I even say about this? Lincoln agreed, unable to take his eyes off his bouncing sister, specifically the parts that were bouncing. And then,
wow, way to emphasize it, bro. The bouncing parts of his sister that were actually bouncing. Get it? They're bouncing. Hey, guys, if you didn't know, this is actually bouncing. They're bouncing. They're bouncing.
Little help, Link? Luna asked. Feels like I'm not doing it right. Just put your arms around my waist.
Doing what right? Doing what right? Doing what right?
All right, what's next? What? I don't even want to do this one. Here, AI Mark Zuckerberg, read this one for me.
At 14 years old, Lola Loud looked like she had been purposefully constructed to be the first thing to show up when jailbait was entered into a search engine, a fact that had aided the FBI countless
Wait, whoa. Am I not understanding this properly?
times without her knowledge, contrasted sharply with the shapely hips and full breasts that were commonly enjoyed by the women of the Loud family.
I think I've given enough examples, and I'm sure you're done listening to this, but if you've forgotten, then let me remind you, this is the surface of what's to come. So, if you want to get even darker, stay tuned, and we'll be staring the devil right in the face.
No way, bro. It gets worse? Treachery. I'm scared, man.
You can probably already guess what I've been alluding towards this whole video. If you haven't realized it yet, the Loud House fandom has created a large volume of inappropriate images involving
So are these people actually gonna get arrested? Is that what happens here?
children, often combining themes of abuse, among other things. This side of the fandom doesn't hold back either, including all of the sisters and other kids in the town from ages 17 years old to 15 months. I don't think you need to even see blurred examples as proof, nor do I really want to see those images either.
No, do not show me that shit.
To give you some context on how bad this is, let's play a game of numbers. On a website dedicated to a certain internet rule, searching the Loud House yields a grand total of 7,500 results. A children's show comprised primarily of children with 7,500 NSFW images of it produced. On another website I discovered while doing my searches that I will not name due to the entire point of the website being underage art, there are 16,000 results.
Yo, bro, FBI, do your job, bro, please.
Cannot stress to you how big of a thing this is in the fandom, and while it may not be the majority of people within it, the sheer volume of these works is not few enough to just ignore. If the few and the proud within the Loud House fandom end up seeing this video, I can almost guarantee the argument about it being a small part of the fandom that we do not agree with will come up. And while you may not be
Bro,
wrong,
this is not a small part of the fandom, though. This is too big of a part of the fandom. I'm not saying this about any other fandoms.
in the objective sense, the fact this type of art is so voluminous compared to other fandoms is the true issue here. Just like that Reddit guy mentioned SpongeBob, let's see how the volume of SpongeBob NSFW art compares to the Loud House.
Which SpongeBob should technically be significantly higher because SpongeBob is a significantly more popular show.
On the first website I mentioned, the number sits around 3,000. That means that a show, in total, that has existed for 3 times longer and has a consumer base of billions, has less than half the artwork of a show that's been around for 7 years.
My answer is because the Loud House is built on SA and a weird author. I don't know. That, or maybe if the show, the characters have like a older, mature personality, or we talk about mature themes or something. I can't tell you otherwise.
And is primarily made for an American audience. To reiterate, it's more of a macro scale trend thing than on an individual scale. Remember, this video is about the fandom as a whole, so I've covered it as a whole. This video isn't meant to discuss the inner workings of Loud House internet politics and to discuss the nuance of a misunderstood fandom or something. And although I understand very well this type of stuff the general fandom doesn't tolerate, I'm making a video to bring awareness to this kind of stuff, since based on my research, only a select few cartoon YouTubers have discussed this fandom at any sort of depth, usually staying on the surface of the fandom. And I know this is a wild time to plug, but if you want to see content where I venture to and discuss.
Well, it's gonna do it for today's video. That was the worst fandom that you've never heard of. Well, unfortunately, we already heard of it. We've already seen some disturbing comics from it, and this video really reiterates how bad the Loud House fandom really is, because it's giving us statistics showing how they are making more NSFW of freaking Loud House than they are of SpongeBob, when SpongeBob is out for 3 years longer, way more famous. Why, bro? And I think it's because Build.sa, the creator is freaking weird, and I don't know, the fans are just 30 years old, and they have some type of attraction to the show for some reason. Either way, that's gonna do it for the video. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, join the Discord link in the description. Let me know in the comment section what you want to check out next. Is that a new Loud House comic, a disturbing one? There is another one that I actually kind of do want to check out. Well, I don't want to check out, but I think I should check it out. But yeah, have a nice rest of your day. It's Love It Law. I love you, and I'm out.